Take a look on the next screen.
There's a look.
Oh, and look at that bounty mat, dude. He signed it with a holographic marker, the first of its kind. No, these play mats were made by by Matt, not a Dave. We have Matts, we have Daves. There's really not that many names you can pick from in this area of the country.
There's 3, Matt, Dave, and Garrick.
Yes, Garrick. And there's like 40 Garricks, which honestly was very, very surprising. But thank you to everyone in the chat. We have a lot of people getting excited for the Dave. And then also some people from Team Ohana, which I love Team Ohana. But it is, before we can get to any other players, we have the Battle of the Beards, as somebody just said. And
dude, that was what we had in the finals. It was the Dave versus, I forget his name.
Did they have to cut it off if they lose?
Yeah, that's what we said.
Wow.
But they both had 2 glorious beards. And you know what? It was Amber Steel versus Blurple in that matchup as well.
As someone with a beard, I'll tell you, I will never play a game where the loser loses their beard. I'm not putting my beard at stake.
You can't risk that.
Now, Amber Steel is a very fascinating deck because, I mean, when we say Blurple, there's a few decks where you say the color combination and you're 90% sure what they're up to. It's very rare that someone's going to show up with a Sapphire Amethyst build and you'll be like, what is that tech? But Amber Steel is a color, or is an ink pairing that has lost its identity. It was super established for a while that it was Amber Steel Song. You could just say I play Steel Song and people just put the amber in there in their mind.
Yep.
But now we have different flavors of it. We have our aggro type build, and then we have people trying to do mid-range. You guys said that Dave is known for his spice. Do you have any inkling of what he what kind of titration he might be going for here?
Well, I walked past him as I was perusing the floor, and I did take a little peek at what he was cooking up over there. And you know what? I did see one of your favorite cards, that Lilo bundled up, which has to be one of the cards that you need to include, especially if you're going to play like a more aggressive build of Amber Steel. She's just so solid.
You know, it was last night we were having a little caster dinner where we were eating at Glory Days. Shout out to that restaurant. But I will say we were talking about what's a good example of a I don't want to play with you anymore. And Lilo and Nala are a pretty good example of that, where a lot of people are looking at Nala and saying, listen, Nala, you're cool, but you know what? Not cool. Cheshire Cat absolutely demolishing you. Yeah. And this has the ability where it doesn't matter. Place, deal, whatever the type of damage, she is not going to take it the first time. You have to do whatever you're going to do, challenge, move, whatever, twice. So she's kind of just making people go, that's good.
It's a really good winter coat she has,
obviously. It's very bundled. It is. She looks like she's wearing a sweater, her Hawaiian dress, a coat, lots of stuff. She can't put her arms down, though.
She's got sandals on.
With socks.
With
socks and sandals.
With socks, to be fair.
That's the anti-resist tech, socks and sandals.
That is actually unstudied tech, but we're proving useful. So, yeah, I mean, this is a card that I think you would see possibly in any kind of build of this deck. She does pair quite nicely with some other targets. We've seen Stitch Rockstar, a card beloved by Wonderland here in the booth. Oh, yeah. So she pairs quite well with that. There's lots of Lilo and Stitches bouncing around. And man, Lilo, if there's some pudges, I'm going to take my headset off, run around the entire mall and come back because I want to see that. But no, instead we got that Aurora we mentioned.
And she's on the board. Yeah, this is, again, a card that Dave is kind of known for. One of the first players to play it. And I guess that's a benefit of playing in these really, really early events is if you come up with a great idea, you are given credit for that, and credit where credit is due.
I made this.
I made Disney Lorcana. But this is another card that's very powerful, and it's only become more powerful over time as we say, guess what, Amethyst, you're going to draw a card no matter what. This Royal Guard is able to come in, and he's just a measly little guy, but then every time you're drawing cards, you're going ahead and increasing his strength by 1. So let's say you have something like a Yzma Conniving Chemist, and you draw 3 cards, or you draw 2 cards off of some other situation. Suddenly, you can have this be a beefy octopus. But before that, let's just see what you got going on with a Mowgli Man Cub.
Choices. What am I discarding here if I'm Anthony? Well, easy choice, apparently.
He's thinking about it.
Thinking.
He's got a lot of card draw with those 2 genies. Yeah.
What if he has Tamatoa? That would just be insane. You're right. It's probably not going to happen.
That would be a very, very spicy inclusion. We did see Tamatoa make his way into some Blurple lists there towards the end of the previous format, but since the rotation has not really seen that much play because we lost some of the more powerful items that really worked well with the Tamatoa, as Tipo is going to hit the Inkwell, and we'll see a Tipo hit the board as well. We did go ahead and quest for 1 with the Aurora, leaving her open to a Royal Guard challenge, and Anthony will take that. Yeah,
I mean, so Aurora is something where There's lots of princesses available in an Amber Steel package. I mean, if you are running the Whisper version of Ariel, or the Whisper version, if you're running anything, you can get a discount. You can even get down a Mulan for free. So I was expecting when I saw that quest, maybe a cheeky one-cost princess to go down and replace her. But in this case, he just said, I want that one lore, which is surprising. I'm trying to see what the payoff might be, because now there's also a damage on that octopus, which can be very scary.
So as you were saying, this octopus has been very good. And one of the cards that you very kindly waited for me to mention,
of course,
to set me up, I did appreciate, is that Demona. Being able to make the Royal Guard crack in for 5 is backbreaking. And Dave is probably aware of how good that is, and especially since we know the Hypnotic Strength is in there. That's a +3. So it's possible that the Dave just wanted this Tiana to be able to come into play and not worry about it as much. Whereas in a turn or two from now, a Demona could come down. I think we saw Anthony ink one on turn 1, which sometimes is a signal that we have another one. And so it could be in respect to that. Ooh, and just doing a nice little cleanup of some of the board.
And that's why aggro can be one of the more difficult decks to navigate, because you want to naturally win. The minute you sleep in an aggro deck, you're like, all right, so I win by turn 4, we'll just do that. But it is a lot of calculated battle of inches in times like this, because they know with this purple Blurple matchup, it's not going to be over quick. So you have to be thinking in that future-proofing mindset. And the damage is gone. We were not going to go ahead and have that carry through. But now we're starting to draw some cards, which can be scary. Amethyst has a lot of cards I don't want to see, and even Sapphire.
Oh, yeah, and as if you were noticing in the cards that Anthony drew there, he drew a Sven, and that mixed with the Hypnotic Strength is enough to just take out this Tiana. And with the new reprint of Let It Go, props to anyone who's able to get those gorgeous DLC ones, and Into the Unknown, and Hades, Tiana is not the threat that she used to be. It's very easy for her to just hang out in the inkwell after a turn or two. Which could also be why the Dave was going for more of a challenging style there. Because if he just tried to race and just gets blown out by an Into the Unknown, Anthony has a bunch of characters. And this way, if Anthony answers his threats, he doesn't just turn everything sideways and win right after. He has to then also develop a board and a secondary Tiana. If he does not have that Into the Inkwell style card, it's going to be over very quickly.
Yeah, Tiana is one of the more powerful cards that we've seen, especially in the previous sets, as she is able to sing a Strength of a Raging Fire, removing one of the genies off of the board. The Lilo and the Rhino get exerted here on a quest. But like you mentioned, we have 2 out, kind of insulating ourselves a little bit. I do see a Hades, I believe, in the hand, or no? No? I think there's one in there. But anyway, we have an Elsa, which is not really super useful right now in this situation. So Anthony might just have to quest, draw some cards, and try to find some answers, because the Tianas are back, and they're really, really threatening right now on this board.
So you don't like Elsa, exert the Tiana, give my character -6?
No, not necessarily. I don't think that's what you want to go for.
It's suboptimal play, they say. But I mean, this is kind of a tricky moment, and I think Dave did it well,
because...
Let It Go.
It is a Let It Go. Okay.
We saw the Elsa on the art, thought, oh, he's got both.
Now, it's tricky because, I mean, one of the things that Anthony is trying to do is just stay in the game, because Dave can run out of gas pretty quickly, and Anthony just keeps getting stronger and stronger. Around turn 6 is when Anthony just kind of hits this rhythm. As long as he can hit something like a Demona, get the Genie firing with a Dumbo, there's lots of stuff he can do, but Dave has to fight really hard from this point forward. But there we go, a brand new card.
There he is.
That's the Chieftain, correct?
That's Chief Powhatan, and he is a beefy bodyguard at a 5/5 stat line, so you can, and he cannot challenge, but people have to run. You have to run a lot of resources into this man to go ahead and get rid of him.
Yeah, he is a mentor and king indeed. It's so hard to get through that. Like, you need how many characters to take down this Lilo now?
Yeah.
Like, Anthony had the Elsa, but
he
Into the
Unknown
in hand.
Yeah.
But what do you hit?
But you wanted to hit. You wanted to hit the Tiana with that.
Yeah.
But now you have this Chief Powhatan who is just absolutely dominating this opposite side of the board, and we do opt to go for the Tiana. So Lilo looking a little safe, but yeah, we can return her to hand with the Tigger.
Yeah, and I mean, this Tigger is something that I heard people talk about. You know, it's only 2 costs, so what are you bouncing around there? And there's a few different options. I mean, the very obvious one is if you're going to have it in an Amber or Amethyst Steel deck is Doc, but really it can be a disruption. Like we saw here, that Lilo, she planned on questing, is what she really likes to do. But with Tigger, bounces back to the hand. You do have to redeploy it. You don't have a lot of ink in these aggro style decks. You can also use it on shift targets and things like that, but he's just shown that telling out your opponent, nah, I got to do that again, always pretty good.
Yeah, and we see Nani come down onto the board. This is a sort of alternative to standard card draw. We can look at the top 4 cards of our deck and reveal a character with cost 2 or less, put them into our hand. So a great way to draw cards in a more aggressive strategy like Amber Steel is to put the Nani down, look at the top 4, hopefully find a dock, and now you can draw basically 3 cards off of the Nani with the dock combo there.
Yeah, because that's been like one of the big issues with Amber Steel in the last few sets. Katie mentioned earlier, it's been kind of missing its identity. And most of that kind of comes down to it's just missing 1 or 2 pieces in all the builds to be like, this is the way to play the deck. And one of those is that you only really have dock as card advantage. So, adding Nani and the Lilo Rockstar, as we saw during the pack rush, as ways to abuse and take advantage of 1 dock if you get it or find it quicker. And it's very important. And we see Lilo bundle back up and come to play again. How long do you think she's going to stick around?
I mean, Lilo is known for leaving and coming back. We had the Lilo Escape Artist. Now we've got the Lilo bundled up.
Here's Demona.
Okay, so this is where the math changed. So we talk about interaction, and this is where you say, we're interacting, buddy, because that Demona comes, exerts all your opponent's characters, and then it's really up to Anthony on how he wants to play this out. But this is normally pretty devastating if there wasn't a giant 5/5 bodyguard.
Yeah.
So that is where things are like, okay, you got to get through me, pal.
Yeah, and he would eat up the genie and the Tigger. Sorry, go ahead, Luke.
Oh, I was just going to say it's not a clean trade at all.
Yeah.
We're just trying to race, I guess. Demona for just a big character, which, she can challenge the Chief very easily there and still stay around. And imagine if Anthony plays a Cheshire Cat after doing that. He might be able to stop Dave. He's only at 9 lore. He can quest up now to 13. That's so close, but so far at the same time. If he doesn't play a powerhouse card such as Doc or something to just push through that last bit, it's really tough, and it's going to be dependent on what's on the top of his deck here in this mid game, as he has 1 more card. Oh, that's actually a couple cards, and
call
we're
a
drawing
doctor.
more.
Donnie, call a doctor. And that Donnie, it's so fun because we used to have Ariel Spectacular Singer Reader.
Oh.
There we go. The doctor said, I take house calls. But you get to look for 4 cards, but in a deck like this, they're pretty much all characters. So it's really just saying, I'm going to get my best character out of these top 4 here, hopefully not sending any strings to the bottom. But in this case, Doc is just what you want for 2 ink left, and then gets him ready for whatever Anthony's up to.
I mean, typically in decks, you're playing way more characters than you are songs, so Nani almost always hits, especially when you're playing a deck built like this, like you mentioned there, Katie, and we do find the dock. And something else that's really, really good about Nani is she is a 3/3, so she can battle back if something's challenging into her. She's probably taking something out, as we see her take the Tigger out there. These 3/3 characters that cost 3 and come down and provide some sort of utility are really good. Pete Games referee. We saw the John Silver as well in Sky's deck in round number 1. So there's a lot of these kind of cards that are super impactful on that 3rd turn, as we are going to go ahead and quest for 3 here with the Chief and the Lilo going up to 12. This is a really dynamic and really difficult deck to try and play against because of these big bodyguards, the Tianas and the Lilos. Everything needs to be hit with one of those into the unknowns, the let it goes, or the Hades. You got to make a really tough decision, and Dave's just going to keep questing.
I think Anthony still has an Elsa in hand. So what if Dave just has more 3-drops and then that dock, and so he can't really commit anything?
Yeah.
Well, it looks like he's going to. But Demona can take out the Chief, and then Genie and Elsa can. Oh, well, never mind.
Another bodyguard comes down onto the board here.
Yeah, and I love seeing this return of the bodyguards because this David card is kind of, they call it the power creep because there was a card, a Jim Deere, he was a 0/4, but they said, no. What about a 1/4? And so here is David, the protected snowboarder, being like a bodyguard on bodyguard, doesn't get around into the unknown or let it go, but Anthony doesn't have infinite access to that.
He should rename this deck Mr. President, or Lilo as the president.
Get down, Mr. President.
Yes, because that's what this is.
Hail to the Chief. Get down, Mr. President. We got...
Hail to the Chief is perfect because of the Chief.
Yes. Oh. We are cooking. You heard it here first. We'll ask Dave about it after this round. If he wins. If he's in good spirits.
If he wins, we can ask him. If he loses, we might just say, it's okay, we'll talk talk to you later, Dave. We'll workshop later when you have time. But yeah, bodyguards is something that we saw kind of go into and out of the meta because, like we said, it gets some cards like that let it go. I mean, strength, any kind of spot removal gets around it, but it's just a tempo sink, right? It's going to eat resources. It's going to make it where you can't take as much advantage as you want to with these cards. So you get to pick which bodyguard to hit, but it is just annoying. It's annoying to have to deal with both.
There is a Hades in hand. Now we have to decide, of course. Let's take the biggest one off of the board. Challenge with the Demona. So Demona only takes one, and Lilo is probably just going to stick around here unless we have Into the Unknown. We don't, so we're going to go on a quest up to 7, which means Lilo can quest again if Dave decides to go that route, but plenty of ink to work with for a deck that probably maxes out on 4.
Oh, he has to be feeling great. He gets to quest up to 15. He has like 2 or 3 cards in hand, one of which we know is a dock.
Yeah.
So he's just going to go wide. And that's traditionally how you beat Blurple. You just have too many characters for them to actually challenge them all down.
Yeah, and when you're in that position where you're saying, chase me, I mean, it makes it very difficult because you run out of resource, and this is 2 perfect cards because one has that resist mechanic on it. The other one is that Lilo Escape Artist, which we have seen around for a while. And she is one that you can strike me down, but I'll only come back stronger. You can play her from the discard at the start of the turn. So even if Dave runs into, I can't find any more docks, then you have that ability where you just keep saying, deal with it over and over. So now we're at 15, and Anthony has to keep dealing with it.
And this is another card that's really hard to get rid of, the Rhino with the resist here. And I mean, I hate to keep saying it, but it's just really interesting deck building on the side of the Dave. It's just every single card I'm going to put onto my board is really sticky. Sticky meaning hard to get off. What did you see?
Yeah,
he drew into the unknown.
He drew into the
unknown.
What did you see?
What's
so
your Elf
we
eyes
can
see?
Elsa exert down this Lilo Escape Artist into the unknown, so it's just gone. We can double tap the other Lilo, and that's only going to put Dave to 18. Then we still kind of have some answers from things. Oh, we're going to hit that Lilo.
Yeah, which is a good way because you don't. It says deal damage twice, not banish to the inkwell twice. So that is one and done with that targeting, and then just drawing a card.
It could. I think what Anthony's trying to do here is save the Elsa for the next turn. We're going to just do natural challenging. We're going to let him gain a little bit of lore, but we're also developing enough lore of our own to try to win in 2 turns. So we stop Dave from winning, then we quest, and then we quest again and hope that's enough without Dave being able to deploy enough threats. But as we saw earlier, there is a dock in hand. So it's going to be a really close and down to the line game.
Big fan of the term natural challenging.
We don't have an Elsa in hand. That was the last card here. We inked a Demona to play a junior Woodchuck guy, but I don't know if I love that. If the Dave goes really wide here, you have a lot of characters on the board that you can use to challenge. So the Demona would actually be really good here, I think. But we decide to send it into the Inkwell to play the Junior Woodchuck guidebook. The Dave did spot a Daisy there and decides to go for it. Another, again, really sticky card. It's hard to get rid of these.
Quest for
2. 3rd or 4th?
4th what?
Third Nani.
Yeah, third Nani. Nani's traveling groups of 3. But there we go. A Fire the Cannon.
Fire the
so
cannons.
rare you get such big value off of such a little card. And then a dock off the top rope. We love to see that. Just insult to injury. All the greatest hits. We call this Amber Steel's greatest hits. And we just saw all of them. Daisy, Cannon, dock, and then 2 cards.
Anthony must have inked that Elsa, or I blinked
It
and
was
he
Demona.
played it.
He inked the Demona to play the
Because he was out of cards in hand, and I thought he had an Elsa in hand.
I think it was
Fine to let it go, and
it
it's
was just a
Dumbo
Demona,
here, and it's
sense.
not going to be enough. The Dave takes game number 1 going up against Blurple. Traditionally, this is a really good matchup for the Amber Steel deck. And it's sort of fallen out of favor, but the Dave showing us that there's still some life in the Amber Steel.
I don't know if you know this, but when you win an event and then you play it again, you get +2 to your luck stat, at least +2. And, you know, the Dave's been on a roll on quite a few events over the last year or so. So, you know, that luck stat might be up a bit.
That's actually something that you can track in the Lorcana Ravensburger Play Hub and see what your luck stat is at.
A lot of people think it's a joke, but being
some people.
But but being on fire is like an actual
real
thing.
Yeah.
People don't
A
understand.
flow state is real. I mean, you see, you know.
Anxiety is also real.
Watch Soul. Great Pixar film. They talk about it. Being in a flow state, and it's real.
Which
it's real.
Which one?
Soul?
Soul. Okay, yes. Okay, yes. I was like, Cars? I don't remember going, I am Flow.
Beat me by one with the road.
Yeah, I just watched Cars for the first time last week. And it was,
Really?
Yeah.
Ka-chow.
It was. Well, to be fair, it was because someone went to me and said, Kachiga. And I said, what? And they're like, the guy, Lightning McQueen's second place person. I was like, I don't think I've seen the movie Cars. But we are about to see game 2. Now, was Dave on the play there? I'm trying to remember what card went down first.
I think
he played Aurora, and then
Yes.
Royal Guard came down.
Got
so
it.
Anthony
So-
will be on the play here.
And shout out to Dave. I said, why would you quest that Aurora? But he was able to make some favorable trades and clean up. So, I mean, this is why it's very interesting to watch an aggro deck played by a good player, because you learn that there's
levels to this.
Yes, it's not just quest out or don't quest out. It's do some questing when it makes sense. You're doing the math of what they have, how much damage they can take, what they could be playing. So aggro can be one of the harder decks to learn.
Do you remember by chance what Anthony inked? There's a world
He inked
that,
an Aurora, whatever?
Well, was it an Amethyst or Sapphire card? Because if it's possible that if he inked an Amethyst card and played Royal Guard, that the Dave might have thought he was on Amethyst Steel, and that is why he made the play of playing the Mowgli when he did, thinking that he might not be able to play it later, instead of playing the turn 2 Tiana, unless there is a world he just top decked those Tianas right off the top and played him as soon as he could.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Tiana is a backbone of the mid part of the game for this deck. You're trying to get as much value, changing the math. I think the Dave's deck is built around really difficult choices. It's saying, I got some bodyguards, I got Tiana, I got things that you need to hit twice with damage. What do you want to use your precious removal targets on and challenging? And a lot of people, that decision fatigue can be backbreaking for them. If you're not prepared for that matchup, you make a decision unfavorably, and then they run away with that.
Or if you tilt, you make one mistake and you don't get over it, and then you continue to make more mistakes, and that's a difficult thing, and you just have to deal with your mistakes and not try to hide them. I know some people, they'll make a mistake and then they will not make the correct play that they still could do just because they don't want to do it and show that they could have done something better. They're almost embarrassed. And, I would rather be embarrassed and still win the game than not embarrassed and lose.
I enter every match tilted. I come pre-tilted. I get
That's
tilted,
my
then maybe
power,
I untilt as the game goes on. But there we go. We have our Junior Woodchuck Guidebook down to the Inkwell and that Royal Guard. But I think I saw there was a Basil in there. A couple other options. Anthony does now know what he's up against, an aggro-style deck, so he might elect to go a little wide on turn 2. I mean, traditionally you want a ramp. But putting down a ramp and then a Basil as well, just to have something to respond to. So we'll see how he navigates this very, very important Sapphire turn 2.
Yeah, and he learned that lesson from the first game of sorts, knowing that the Aurora could be aggressive if need be, and he's willing to put it out there. So, he didn't play the Basil so the Royal Guard could take out this Aurora and not cause a trade. If anyone was wondering why he would have played the Royal Guard over the Basil, and if he had drawn a sail, he could have then followed up with the Basil afterwards to then help the Royal Guard possibly take down a turn 2 Tiana a turn or two later.
But in this case, we got our favorite pal, JDZ's son, Tipo here. And Tipo, he does what he says on the label. He's a body, and he goes ahead and gets you up to that 3 ink you want to do on turn 2. So now is a chance to see, Aurora, are you going to let any princesses in? What's your plan here? Because in theory, you can do a turn 2 Tiana if you so choose, but or he can just go wide. In this case, we do have that Royal Guard, and we know Anthony is not afraid to use it.
Yeah, absolutely. The Dave right now has a pretty tough decision staring down the early Blurple defenses. I think when they're able to establish things like Royal Guard, like Rafiki, and get the Tipo down onto the board, it's tough to get past that for an aggressive deck, especially when you are on the draw here. But we see the Lilo, again, just a really, really difficult card to get rid of. You'd have to put both of your characters into it. We'll see if the Dave is able to follow up this Lilo with the Tiana and make things even more interesting.
If we're inking this Let It Go, that has got to feel good for the Dave if he's holding Tiana, because you don't know. Well, that's a scary thing for the Tiana.
Tiana's scared. Her timbers are shivered here.
But if you're able to go Aurora, then Lilo, and just play the Tiana full cost, not reducing it with Aurora, then the next turn you can quest with these Auroras, maybe deploy the rest of your princesses or other cards, deploy a dock and refill, and you just have to hope that Anthony does not have an easy answer back. And while this Sven will be able to take out one of the other 2 characters possibly through a Tiana, currently we cannot take out this Lilo with a Tiana shield and her own very warm winter coat of protection.
The Tiana sales tax. But yeah, I mean, like you said, Sven changes the math a bit and says, I don't care what the price is right now. But this way, we're going to do a little check. What else you got in there? And this is two kind of interesting ones. We got that Bell Accomplished Mystic and Hades looking for a deal. Two powerful cards, but not the most potent in this matchup right now. So the Dave can now make his play choice. He has possibly one more card he can play if he wants to ink and play at one cost. We'll see how he navigates that.
See, that was incredibly positive for Anthony. He inks the Let It Go, decides he doesn't need it necessarily. The Dave is like, oh my, he inked to Let It Go. He must.
What else do you have?
He must have another copy. I'm gonna play this Mowgli, and then does not hit with it, and that makes Mowgli. No one wants to pay 2 for a 1/2 that does nothing.
Yeah, I mean, the good news is that he can help with strength. He is helpful in that regard. But yeah, I mean, Mowgli, Ursula, Deceiver, those are cards that feel kind of bad to play because if they don't hit, then you're like, well, now I have this little baby. But here we go. That Accomplished Mystic is great when paired with damage, but that is no damage on the board. So yeah, Anthony is kind of going, how do I get the best? I'll go ahead and ink that Bell Accomplished Mystic and look for a deal.
Yeah, do you give your opponent 2 cards here to remove your Lilo? And Dave says, I will get rid of the Lilo. The cards in your hand would just be too valuable at this point in the game. We're going to quest for 2 here. Tipo going in as well as the Sven, which is evasive. So not much the Dave can do about that right now. Doesn't have a Singer established, so does not have the ability to easily get down Strength of Raging Fire. Can pay ink for it if it is available.
And as we saw in game 1, when the Dave made Anthony have to pay for a Let It Go for full cost, it was so much tempo loss. Having to pay ink for your songs instead of exerting characters to play them, it just takes everything away. But the Dave finally committing to the board Singer for a strength, if that's what he's sitting on in his hand, is quite good. And Tiana singing is great because then that also activates her ability.
Exactly. And I mean, right now, both players are kind of just waiting for the tempo. But I mean, Anthony, the fact that he has getting to the the most meaty part of his deck, he's up on lore. The Dave is kind of have to be careful from this point forward because things get very out of hand very quickly, especially if a Demona comes off this top of the deck.
Opts to ink the Mowgli there. We do have the Junior Woodchuck Guidebook in the hand. Here comes Elsa. No real rush to play down the Junior Woodchuck Guidebook at this point. You just saw the Dave ink another copy of the Mowgli, and now we can get to questing a little bit more as the Daisy Duck is removed by Sven really cleanly there.
Yeah, a big issue with these Amber decks is that they can't really challenge very well. And as we saw with Dogs in the last few rounds, they kind of get around this by using Tramp to just pump up one character to be able to trade the scariest threat, and then you kind of try to race. But this this Amber Steel deck, they just have some damage-based cards to do that. And not enough of them to answer this full board. So this Hades is just like, whatever, I'm going to quest. Tipo. It takes 2 characters to banish a Tipo.
Yeah.
All hands on deck. We have Tipo on the floor. But that's such a good point that, I mean, a lot of these decks are like, it's kind of, I always say, well, I was made for questing. I'm not made for challenging because, I mean, some of these cards, they're used for all of their utilities. And I just, man, the more Anthony's board grows, the more if I'm Dave, I'm like, is there any permutation where I outlast this battle? He's looking for dogs. He's looking for basically anything to kind of dig, keep going wider, 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 because I think wider is his only way out of this. But, I mean, with that Elsa, the Hades, the Royal Guard, I mean, that's a good start. I mean, now we've got that fun.
Challenge.
Yeah, well, he doesn't. He's a pacifist. We respect all sorts of walks of life here. And he says, I'm not here to challenge. I'm here to...
Well, he still defends his...
Yes.
He's not a full pacifist. He's just not aggressive.
That's true. He's not passive. He's yeah, that's true. He's a responder here. And so, in this case, Tiana can feel a little bit more free. If, perchance, there is a Let It Go, there is a Into the Unknown, so be it. He's got to get on the board before he loses the chance and a Hades comes down or something like that.
It does look like the Dave kind of agrees with your game plan where it's like he needs to exert it. Like, he needs to turn them all sideways and gain as much lore as he can. But right now, Anthony is winning this race in characters and lore total and lore in play.
Strength, card draw.
Everything.
Yeah. So Dave is still in it. The Dave, if you will. He's still in it, but I mean, it is an uphill battle. Anthony is feeling more and more comfortable as every turn goes by because things that the Dave can do deploy more characters, perhaps a strength, come for with a Mowgli, but none of it's as devastating as the thing that Anthony knows he can do if he goes ahead and takes advantage of this Junior Woodchuck Guidebook next turn. Getting to 10 lore. Quite the pressure here. Not exactly game on board, but we're pretty darn close.
Yeah. We're almost done finishing that story there. It's we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lore on Anthony's side, and the ability to draw 2 more cards.
Yeah, the Dave needs to find something here to sort of equalize the number of characters. If he can find a Strength of a Raging Fire or something like that to kind of even up the characters, he can try and race. But the Junior Woodchuck Guidebook being on the board is so depressing if you're the Dave, because you just know that that's 2 extra cards that are going to be in Anthony's hand next turn, 2 additional resources, potentially 2 more answers or 2 more threats that will make things even more difficult for the Dave. So he needs to make a move here. I think this is going to be a really pivotal turn. We're going to quest everybody here. Do we have an...
Can he somehow add that much lore to play?
Okay, uses the Aurora ability to play down the Tiana for 2, as well as a Lilo. Again, 2 cards that are really difficult to get rid of. If Anthony is not able to find an answer here, can the Dave get over the finish line before everything is said and done? He should be at 9 here, and then next turn will be able to quest for 9 more. So he is not able to win next turn, but it is a 2-turn clock.
Imagine if he had the Daisy to play there. It would have been exacties,
yeah,
or at least forced Anthony to interact.
And this is where it gets to heartbreaking, because he already had cards. He drew cards for turn. He's going to draw 2 more. So I'm saying there could be so many answers. And I mean, that's the thing, is just
Royal
1 or 2
Guard,
answers.
Tipo, and not sure what that card is on the far left, but it wasn't inkable. It looked like an amethyst. So 2 of those cards are not doing anything this turn. The other one needs to be pretty impactful. It could be... I mean, if it's another Elsa, that would be helpful, but not really, because you have the Tiana down. So,
and him just going wider is an option too, because we're saying
True.
a 2-turn clock. If the way it works is that it goes back and forth. So as long as Anthony hits that 2-turn clock before the Dave does, he's fine with that too. Now he'd like to take something. Dave just did the razzle dazzle hand of no cards. So he's like, okay, what are the odds you're going to snake your way out of this? Can I just go wide and race you? Because that's a thing you can do.
Yeah, so the Dave here takes a very tried and true, normally loses method of hope your opponent does the wrong play.
we're sailing. So we still have the option to play both Tipo and Royal Guard, so might as well just look at the additional card here for free.
But as we were saying, he does not have enough lore to win the game. He has no cards in hand, and Anthony can just quest out and play a couple small characters to guarantee that we have that 3 lore for the next turn that, once again, the Dave just cannot interact with. He has to answer 2 evasive cards, 3 evasive cards that all just exert to win the game, as well as all of the other characters.
And this is something that can be very hard as a newer player, and I struggled with, is I'm like, well, I want to stop my opponent from winning. And I'm like, wait a minute, I can just do whatever I want and win still. So in this case, he does go ahead and ink.
Interesting. Opts to ink both of the characters in hand, uses a Let It Go onto the Tiana.
Oh, and then that's...
Thinking about Royal Guard here. Royal Guard is at enough to take out the Chief, if I remember correct. If I'm doing my math correctly, he drew for turn, so that's 2. He drew for both Junior Woodchuck Guidebooks, so that puts him up to 4. Plus the sale should be 5, so that's enough to take out Chief.
I think that was what he was doing in over there, the math, because he's like, okay, if I do this right, I'm getting a super ultra giant octopus that can take out any Royal Guard I want. So that was a very big swingy turn, and it swings him into game 3 and a win here in round 3.
Yeah.
Dave has seen enough.
He said, I get it. All right, that was cool stuff. But now it is back to game 3, which for Dave is fantastic news, because if you're an aggro deck, going first is pretty cool. People like it. I mean, going first in general is something that people really quite like in most games.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah. And it's also just a big deal, because, I mean, if he's able to get a fast, explosive start and Anthony is not able to find removal options, then it just becomes Dave's game and Anthony chasing him. But we have seen that Anthony does have removal options. We've seen that the Royal Guard can be used quite well. We've seen the Let It Go, into the unknown and let it go. So they both just have to play their hearts out here and try to get into their 3-0 going into round 4.
The Dave can rest a little bit easy, though, because this bounty mat will not be given up. You have to 2-0 the bounty player to take their mat away from them, so he doesn't have to worry about that.
That smiley face is not turning upside down yet.
He might, and he gets to keep his beard too. We said 2-0s. You don't have to. If you get like 2-1, you can keep your beard.
That's respectable. Keep the beard, but you do have to shave your head. So
you do have to shave your and that's actually a really powerful move. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see how this one plays out because I am an Ember Steel enjoyer. It's exciting to see this is viable. I was shocked to see 2 bodyguards. Generally, people are like, my 1 bodyguard, but 2, you're like, dang, that is a lot of bodyguards. But in a world with Rush, that Sven and, Elsa, it does change the math a bit. You're like, I'm coming as fast as I can. I was like, yeah, but get through David and Chief Fountain. But yeah, so we, the bounty players, do they give anything else besides, or it's the mat? If you
Good vibes.
Just the mat.
I was a bounty player once, and I got a button that said bounty player, and you had to give them the button, and then you were no longer the bounty player.
Or did they become the bounty player?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh,
but it was like really sad. Because I only bounty played for 2 rounds. So I was like, well, bye. And then Habibi was a double bounty player. He took 2 people's buttons. Or he took a person's button and he had his own button. So that's, that's a fun way to do it. But in this case, you get a mat signed by the Dave. Smiley face.
So when Habibi loses, does he lose both buttons?
No,
or is
he
that
loses
like an
the
extra
first
life?
one. Yeah, it's an extra life. You don't lose both. Yeah, so you're like double bountied. So it was quite fun. It was fun to tell somebody, you beat me. You get a prize on my button. I get to feel shame. I get to sit and think about that one time I was a bounty player and threw it all away. But here we go. We're going to go ahead and get some strategy here for Anthony. Do you think he's going right back for the Royal Guard classic maneuver we've seen, or is going to be on the draw here going to change that a little bit more? Do we think we'll see anything buried up or just the classic Blurple play lines?
It's probably going to be classic defensive Blurple. If he's able to, drop that Royal Guard for the 3rd game in a row, or just any 1 drop, ramp on 2 and then play that Tigger on 3. To take away that Lilo, take away that Daisy that might be putting intense pressure on. Buy him a turn or 2. Tigger, which I just recently found out was a 4-3 and not a 3-3 or 3-4. No, this is a character that gets ramped out, slows them down, and then challenges down the Daisy if they decide to give you another card and quest. And if he's able to slow down the Dave enough, trade these away, and get to that mid-game, he can maybe steal it, especially if he's able to ramp into a Demona and take out 2 or 3 characters.
And that's why they say the wonderful thing about Tigger is a 4-3.
Yeah, that is actually the rhyme, I believe.
When you play him, you bounce. 2 or less for free. Anyway, so
let her cook.
Let her cook. She's spitting. But there we go. We are doing the altar and
wasabi in the hand for Anthony. Worried about the dogs out there. Is Daisy on 1, a classic Amber opener.
I love it. A vintage opener, if you will. But that Daisy can be very fun against decks like Blurple because oftentimes you're like, I don't want to give you a card, but guess what? Anthony's going to be drawing cards, and there's a chance you're going to send one of his beautiful, beautiful little removal tools to the bottom, so it can be fun to quest a Daisy against a deck like Anthony.
It makes Demona worse as well. Yeah, and you definitely don't want to see Basil. He opted to keep that, though, in his opening hand instead of searching for the Royal Guard. I mean, that's true. You want something, but it's definitely not preferred as Lilo is going to come down and make things really scary.
Yeah.
Tipo's not helping. Hades isn't going to help, at least not yet.
He says, keep me around. I'll do my best.
There is Tipo, the growing boy, but we do have Sail available to us as well. But Tipo genuinely not doing anything in terms of battling for the board here.
Well, actually,
Okay.
Tipo's very big here because of the Lilo. Being able to get that first damage, to take down the shield, to then allow your Basil to trade is important enough that I think I would play Tipo over the Sail here. But Anthony might have a better idea of that, might want to risk to draw another 1-drop. Because if you have another 1-drop, I'd rather Sail for sure. But if we don't have the 1-drop, I think Tipo being able to take out this Lilo is very important.
Yeah, Tipo can go into Lilo, burst that bubble, as you mentioned, and allow the Basil to trade. It's just tough to lose the Basil like that to the 1-2 and have the lore hit the board, the scoreboard, that is. Here we go on the Dave's turn number 3. Does he have the Tiana to follow up the Daisy and the Lilo here, or could find something even more explosive with a 1-drop and a 2-drop potentially?
He does.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. No, I'm going. I'm going. You know what? Riddle me this, Joker. Have we seen any Cheshire Cats?
We have not.
I've not seen it anywhere in the Inkwell, which is such a crazy thing because we've seen Bell accomplish Mystics. So I'm just so curious to see if Anthony knows something we don't, that, Cheshire Cat's over.
I did see that DKP just updated his list, and DKP was only playing 3 before. So what if the new list, and I don't know, this is all purely speculation, like maybe he cut cats somehow, and like I'm going to always play around it anyways. And there's that Tiana you were talking about. Does he have the follow-up on the turn 3? And it's pretty big here. And Anthony is in a rough spot. He does have the Into the Unknown in his hand, so he can answer that Tiana and then the Lilo. But that's if Chief doesn't come down.
We're going to quest with Daisy here. We can just quest with Daisy and not quest with Lilo. Quest with Lilo next turn. And that's what the Dave opts to do. Let's get around the Basil Tipo little double action here and then put the Tiana tax on your opponent's side of the board and force them to pay to challenge your characters. Although, is there an Into the Unknown? I think there is in Anthony's hand. So if he's able to establish a singer here, he can sing it next turn and then challenge in like he would have this turn. Does have the singer. There's the genie. Let's draw a card. An additional Hades. It looks like we have Let It Go, 2 Hades, and an Into the Unknown in hand.
Oh,
Yikes.
This is, if you're going to win on the draw, having those and being able to deploy them while not losing is a pretty good way to do that. But we do see that Dave gets to go to 10 here.
Or Strength of Raging Fire, the genie.
And we no longer have the singer, and now we're in a real upsetting tempo place. But that does put us at 8 lore. If we also, though, had...
Mowgli's going to take a peek, and then it's going to be scary.
But the book,
Yeah.
the book
and he gets to pick.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's so frustrating. We used to have bare necessities where you got to pick, but it's up to Anthony. In this case, he says, listen, I got cards for days, buddy, and I need to remove some stuff, and I can draw cards off Demona. I can do it off Dumbo. So he's feeling pretty good, I think, with the hand he has right now.
And after chatting with Braden for a little bit, he's been playing some Amber Steel on his own as well. Blurple is not a good matchup, actually, for you.
Fire the cannons. Do we have Strength of a Raging Fire to make this really, really disgusting?
Fire the Cannons is a fascinating card because it only deals 2 damage, but that can really be enough in so many instances, especially for this Basil, which the Basil has that augmentive effect of support, can really be great with the Rush of Elsa. In this case, he says, I am going to start questing as fast as I can, getting up here to 10, and what do we get off the top?
Tigger.
That's the sad thing about Tigger. Is Tigger's are just 4/3.
Imagine if Anthony had that Tigger last turn instead of the genie.
Yeah, it would have been over, I think.
Yeah.
Like there would have been no way for the Dave to really recover there on the tempo loss with all of the follow-up options, as we do see the Into the Unknown putting the Tiana into the unknown, the Inkwell. We don't know what's going on down there.
Yeah, the Dave he's at a respectable lore. But for how much longer? I mean, he's going to be able to maybe go up to 13 on his next turn. I'm assuming Tigger comes down, bounces away this Lilo. We might put a damage on the Daisy, mostly just to be like, oh, would you like to challenge instead of questing? I'm A-okay with that, as well as, like, it's free-ish, but we don't need to, as Tigger does also cleanly take it, so we could just quest with the Tipo if we wanted and represent the same thing.
Yeah, and it's very...
You do go for Tigger, sorry.
Well, no, I was just going to say, I mean, there's lots of great options here, but, I mean, we've seen Dave put on the pressure, but every card number gets removed from the board is a little bit less pressure. So can he build back his board here?
He needs that dock.
It's dock o'clock, and it's time to clock in.
Or nanny into doc would be pretty good, too. As you said, call that doctor. Where is he?
And this is another way to try. I mean, that Mulan allows you to draw a card and discard a card.
Dave has a bunch. He has a lot of cards in hand.
He's like, he doesn't need the doc.
Doc is
call a doctor.
News.
He's like, I literally go to the doctor I'm healthy.
Call a doctor, but for you, not for me.
Does he know that that's a pretty good follow-up there. We forgot about Lady, which has not been seen in quite a while. It used to be a staple of this game, a staple of the format, but has sort of fallen out of favor here recently. The family dog able to bring in another character to cost or less for free. So we get 2 characters, and now the Tigger loss in tempo is not as hurtful as it was before.
Yeah, she was a staple in dogs for a little bit, but
Grandmother
Nani
Willow
and Grandmother Willow just kind of replaced her.
Kind of muscled her out, yeah, because her effect is a one-time, but if you think about the ink you're saving over time with Grandmother Willow, it just does not compare to the Lady. If the Willow is out for 2 turns, you get the same amount of ink that Lady gets, and then 3 turns, it's just over and over and over more exponential.
Yeah. And I mean, as we've talked about a few times this match, going wide is so nice against Anthony's deck because he can deal with things, a couple things per turn. Dealing with all of it is just harder, especially when you have things like a 2-4 or Tipo sitting at that 1-2 there. So it's just not as easy, but it's not impossible. We did see he had some pretty scary things like Hades in his hand. So
has Demona as well.
Yeah, so as long as he manages his resources well, he can get through this. But I mean, my gosh, the 1 turn time clock is on if he doesn't do anything.
How many cards does Dave have? Because Demona here might actually be the proper answer. We get to take out the Daisy, trade the Tipo with the Mulan, and then use Genie to take out the Lady, leaving the Dave only with 3 lore. But we're not doing it.
Let it go the old-fashioned way. 5 ink used, challenging in with Tigger and the Genie. So just on the board right now is Lady and Mulan. So you can save those resources. You have Hades next turn. You have the option for Demona.
Yeah, I'm not going to want a Demona when the Dave empties his hand, but, you know, he's docking, so he might not have an empty hand. But he could also just ink play another threat.
That's true.
Let's see what he has here. Questing, I'm assuming the quest to 16. But Anthony's solved so many, but the Dave is going to just be so close to just push that last few points of lore.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's so frustrating because you can do your best to slow him down, but with these aggro decks or the aggressive style decks, the aggressive is referring to how fast they are getting lore, and it's just, I mean, those bursts where they're able to get 6 in a turn, 5 in a turn. If you do that a couple times, and suddenly you can even do your best to get rid of everything on the board, and he can still fill it up, but you just have to do it again and again. So here, he was able to go ahead and deploy that dock. He's doing the math of what is that time clock, what could Anthony possibly do next turn, does he need a quest here, does he need to hold, and is there any other things he can do to get a little bit more value before he passes?
Yeah, so something I do sometimes, and this might be what Dave is thinking, is like you can trade the Mulan with the Tigger, and then all of a sudden your 2 lore threats are easier to stick around. And it also kind of leaves your Lilo around a little bit more. But that's not where we're going to be going here. We're just going to gain that quest, go up to 16, and make it that, you know, Anthony has to challenge back. And, you know, we're still going to 19. It's very dangerous. And if he plays another character here...
I think that was the right move. I was thinking... The Dave knows that Demona is in the other hand, and if he drew like a Chief, for example, plus a 3-drop that he can't play something else, ink and play, he needs to ink because Demona might be coming down and might be giving you some additional cards, but we're not going to do that. We are going to use Hades. Hades is going to ink the Lilo there, but I think playing around the Demona might have been the right option. Now, do you challenge into this Lady with your Genie or your Tigger?
My Genie, mostly because I'm assuming Tigger gets to live for 2 more turns, and at that point it equalizes the lore change between the 2 of them, and you get to keep your Tigger around, and then he'll gain more lore overall.
Yeah.
Now this is when it starts to be very important. Had a Lilo Escape Artist in play. I don't believe he has this game, but that is something that's so vital in this game and why people love putting Lilo Escape Artist in the deck, because there is a point where card draw becomes a little harder and harder every turn. So if perchance you're able to get a Lilo Escape Artist into your discard, which is something you can do with that Mulan Disguised Soldier, you were able to get a little bit of card advantage that way, not necessarily card draw. However, it does, and that's not something available to Dave, but now he is just saying, I got a lot of ink, that's cool. What can I do in order to widen this board and not get felled by this pretty sizable board now, where that's a lot of the strength matches up very poorly with the willpower that might be on the Dave side.
Yep, we've seen a lot of Lilo Escape Artist here. Almost every dog's list is probably playing 4 of them. You know, you mix it with something as powerful as Tramp or Bobby, or in this deck, you're discarding it to Angel if the Dave's on that, or you're discarding it to Mulan. We saw the Chief you were just talking about there.
Last turn, Chief heat off of the dock, which is not what you wanted to see. We are exerting 1 ink here, thinking about playing a Rhino, and we do. What is the option here? I think it's all pretty similar. Maybe you go for Hades.
Yeah, I think that's going to be what it is. So this way, if the other two trade with Chief, your dock might get to live another turn. And that might be the one lore needed to push through. Luckily for the Dave, Anthony is only at 4. And he does have 5 lore in play, but Genie might have to just go away.
Gotta give the cards here.
Yeah.
Yeah, take the cards. Now, that being said, it is something you do want to think about. But that being said, any card Anthony draws, they're all good ones. But he does. He says, draw 2 cards, buddy.
He got another Hades and a Tipo, so not really very impactful. Dave with the right decision there.
Yep, and it's an interesting thing about Hades. I've been outspoken about this Punisher mechanic not being as good, but you put it on a body and it's pretty good. And one thing that is really good in card games is the more choices you force your opponent to have to make, the better, because it gives you more chances for them to choose incorrectly and to give you that edge to push through.
Yeah, you're basically saying there's the most optimal play and a suboptimal play, then the wrong one. In this case, there's suboptimal ones, and so he is able to go ahead and get some damage onto Chief Powhatan, and then go ahead and take care of Doc as well. So now,
is that enough damage to take him out? Did he not?
It was not. It's not enough damage. No, we need to rewind here because the Hades does not have enough strength to take out the Chief. Wait, what? That should be 2 + 2 is 4 in my book. And the Chief has 5.
He's back.
So, yeah, that was important because the Hades being chosen there forces the other two to crash in.
Oh, yeah. So then suddenly that Rhino power hamster is very powerful. He was able to go ahead and change the math, change the outcome of that challenge. They're going to go ahead and rewind all the way back to before all that ever happened.
Tigger has got to go at this point, which means Genie would go if challenging into the dock. So we are going to do that.
And this is why that Rhino was so good.
Yeah.
Because Genie can't take out the dock. And boom, we're going to 19. We're drawing another card. We just, well, that is an Elsa and Anthony's hand, which is a little scary. But let's just draw Doc off the top, you know?
Or Tiana.
That's all we need. If you call Doc, he will hear you. His sympathetic vibrations.
Would be so good too.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, he just needs to go a little bit wider over and over again. Now, that being said, Anthony has been keeping a pretty healthy hand size, but here we go. Let's see what the Dave, if you will, gets off that, and that is a lady family dog, I believe.
What's that?
No, Aurora. Worse in some ways, but it's still a character.
Yeah, it's a character that needs to be dealt with most definitely here. He would have loved to see the Rhino off the top shift and just put this thing to bed, but unfortunately was not in the cards. We'll see if we decide to quest here or not. We do. Dave says there's just too much value in getting up to 19 right now. So we do have an answer on the side of Anthony in the Elsa the Fifth Spirit. The only answer in hand. So very good to have that.
Yeah, so we get to, it is in an actual spot here that we are losing one of our characters here. We're losing 2 characters.
We can challenge in with Hades.
Oh, just one.
Yeah,
just one, yeah.
We are going to lose one guaranteed.
Which is probably the Basil. And then we're going to quest for 4 up to 10.
Dave should be
with
at 19,
a 2-turn clock. And then...
he has to get rid of that Rhino for sure, knowing that shifting. So wise choice here. And like you said, able to retain 4 lore on board. And now the Dave really needs to get going wide here. If he can get a Doc into some other little characters here, just go as wide as possible because the pressure is very firmly on Anthony's side.
So we can quest a 17 here. If it's a character, it might be good enough.
Oh.
Mowgli coming down, no actions in the hand, so he can draw.
The pesky Hades.
He's going to draw 2 cards off the Hades for sure.
In these top 3 cards, is it enough? Is the Dave going to get it, or is Anthony going to secure it? That's more cards.
Guidebook, but you need a Let It Go. You need a Demona or an Elsa.
I think Let It Go might be our... Oh, we still can do Elsa.
So here we go. See, we
Draw
have
2, Dumbo, and
That's
Hades.
game.
No, you can
we
still
can ink and play Hades.
Play Hades, draw 2, you need Let It Go.
Yeah,
that's your only out.
Yeah, let
Does
it go.
he have it?
Let's make a deal.
Anthony just flipped the cards right off the top. Flip them on. Hades.
Oh,
I
that
didn't see the
Oh my god! I'm sorry, Dave, if you heard us scream. Now it's not game over.
But it's close.
Yeah, you're like, it's not game over. But it's the second thing called games yikes.
It
is basically.
Dave is in check. He can't clear the board. That's going to be it. Let's take a look at the top card. It's Tiana.
That was insane.
Wow.
Brutal for the Dave. You got to feel fantastic for Anthony here.
He found the Junior Woodchuck guidebook off the top for the draw of that turn. Needed it exactly because the Hades was not going to get to the Let It Go, so he needed the guidebook, and Anthony takes it by the skin of his teeth.
A terrible deal. Like a terrible deal. He's looking for a deal. It's called I win. I don't like that deal, and that's why it's so frustrating because he literally, it's a deal an offer you couldn't refuse.
Yeah.